All right, you'll notice when you click on More Mojo, a few different sections under the More Mojo tab, which should help you guide you towards the purpose of your campaign. So for example, the Reactivate section is going to encourage patients to come back into the office. And this information is in the Reactivate description. So you can just read that description and you'll see I highlighted it. It encourages them to come back into the office. The Recruit section, right down towards the bottom, is going to help get new patients into the office. And these campaigns are 100% ready to go. All you have to do is schedule them. We're going to jump back up to the first section, which is called Reactivate. Here you'll notice a few categories you can choose from: the benefits reminder, the ReCare Catch-up, and Reactivate. The difference between these two campaigns, or I'm sorry, I want to just kind of skip the benefit reminder, but the difference between the ReCare Catch-up and the Reactivate campaigns is that the ReCare Catch-up campaigns are based on the patient's continuing care date or ReCare due date. The reactivation campaigns are based on last visit date. So decide which group is most important for you to reach out to. Typically, the reactivation or Reactivate campaigns are ideal if you're trying to reach, or they're going to reach a larger group of patients. If you're trying to reach patients that haven't been in 2+ years, maybe the doctor just acquired the office, or you've had a lot of turnover and staffing and your hygiene settings aren't really consistent, that Reactivate section is going to be really good for that. Raise your hand if you've ever scheduled Reactivate or ReCare campaign in the past. Some of you have. Okay, that's really, really awesome. So some of you have done this in the past, so it's going to probably look a little familiar, but I'm hoping through the webinar we're going to point out some of the small feature details that might help you feel really really confident when you're scheduling or choosing campaigns in the future. For the purpose of this webinar, I'm going to focus on the ReCare Catch-up campaign. So you're going to notice when you click on that section, campaigns have different titles in the section. But before choosing a campaign, it's really important to think about your hygiene schedule. If you have openings available in the next 3 months, then these campaigns are probably going to be appropriate. And then depending on how many openings you have, that's going to help you gauge the time frame that works best for you. So we have 90 days to 6 months. Let's see here. 6 months to 2 years, 1 to 2 year, and then our ReCare Booster right here, which is my favorite campaign. This campaign reaches patients that are 90 days to 2 years past due. So let's say you have plenty of room in your hygiene schedule and you want to reach out to as many patients as possible, or as many patients that are past due as possible, then this is the campaign you want to use. And you'll notice that each of the campaigns have a description, and the description tells you who the campaign is going to go to. For this campaign, we're going to reach active patients and patients that were due for hygiene 90 days to 2 years ago. And you'll also notice little icons above the description. These icons indicate that this campaign is available for patients via text, email, and postcard. Sometimes you'll notice campaigns that are very similar. For example, this ReCare, I'm just going to go back a minute. This ReCare Booster and this ReCare Booster look pretty similar. The difference here is that the icons are going to tell you a little bit of a difference. Campaigns with a postcard only icon typically mean that the postcard goes to patients that do not have an email or cell phone on file. And again, that information is going to be in the description. When you see a postcard icon combined with the text and email icon, that means the postcard is going to go to patients that have an email or cell phone on file. So we created the postcard only option to save you as much money as possible. If we can reach a patient by email or text message first, which are unlimited and free, then we want to be able to do that. However, some offices still like to send postcards to everyone, which is why we have this option available also. We've also collected data that proves you can see close to a 15% increase in your response rate by using Postcard for campaigns like this. So sometimes if you hear that postcards don't work anymore, really from the research that we've done, we're one of the only automated services that use ReCares and at least use them for a really efficient or reasonable price. So we're able to track how well those campaigns are working by Postcard, and we do see a difference. Before we get started on setting up a campaign, I want to see if anyone's been paying attention. So in a second here, you're going to see a pop-up for a poll that I just want to ask. Let's see here. I'm going to launch this poll. You tell me. I'm going to ask, is the ReCare Booster campaign based on last visit date or ReCare due date? I'm going to give you a little bit of time to answer that. Do you think the ReCare Booster is based on last visit date or ReCare due date? Give you a few seconds. I do see that someone did ask a question. I'm going to try to answer those questions at the very end, just because we only have 30 minutes, but I'll make sure I get to that, and if not, I know who asked, or I think I'll know who asked it, and I can get back to you on at another time. All right, so I'm going to give you another few seconds to answer this. I don't think I did a very good job explaining because I see a difference in responses. So ReCare Booster is going to be based on ReCare due date or continuing care date in your practice management software. And the reactivation campaigns are based on last visit date. So I'm going to make a note that I be more specific on that. It's probably my fault because I went through that pretty quickly. So ReCare Booster, the hint is in the title of the campaign. It's based on ReCare due date or continuing care date. Okay, so I'm just going to end this poll. Thank you for participating. I'm going to share the results with you just so you can see. So 65% of you that responded said that it's based on ReCare due date, and you are right. So ReCare catch-up campaigns are based on ReCare due date. All right, let's move on. We're going to set up a ReCare Booster, and I'm going to set up the ReCare Booster that has the text, email, and postcard option. To do so, you're really just going to click Setup. If you haven't used this campaign in the past, you're going to be directed straight to the image library to choose an image that you want to use. If you have used this in the past, you'll be directed straight to the preview page, which looks just like this. If you want to change the image, all you're going to do is click on Change Theme to choose the image that you'd like to use. Once you choose the image you want to use, you'll be directed back to the preview page. Hold on here. Hold on here real quick. When you're setting up or when you're looking at the preview page, there is a way to differentiate the method of communication that this campaign you're editing is. One way to preview exactly which type of communication this is literally just by the preview. Right here in front, where you can see that postcard option. The other option is the postcard heading, the title on the left-hand side above the settings. So that's a good way to indicate what you're going to be sending out. Let's see. There we go. So your preview option here, and then it's telling you on the next slide that this is the postcard option. We're going to scroll down. I'm going to skip over this. I like to do the postcard at the end, and I'll tell you why in a little bit, but we're going to talk about how to kind of set up that email and how to edit that. So if you scroll down, you'll notice that we're looking at the email portion of this, this preview. And you'll want to read the default message to make sure that you like what it says. If you'd prefer something else, there's two different options you can choose to make adjustments. You can either choose a message library, which is going to have a pop-up window, which gives you options to choose from that you can use. If you click on any of these, it'll change the preview, and then you also can choose to edit the message. And if you do that, you're going to see an edit box pop up. Now you can edit the subject line through the editor. You can also edit the body of the message, and it's very similar. We tried to make it similar to a Word document so it's easy for you to navigate through. Once you make the changes in here, you're just going to click Apply Changes, and you'll be directed back to the preview section of the Practice Mojo feature, so you can see what those changes look like. And the last thing you need to do is just schedule your campaign. So you're really just going to, on this calendar feature, choose the date that you want the campaign to go out by clicking the date on the calendar so that it highlights blue. If you decide you want to change this date, click on the date again, and it will turn gray again. And that's how you know that you unscheduled it. You can choose multiple dates when you're scheduling a campaign. You can even use the, you can go up to 2 years in advance to schedule a campaign just by clicking on these arrows, and it'll change the calendar, the month. And then next you're going to preview or edit the text message portion of the campaign exactly how you did for the email. You can click Message Library, or you can edit it by clicking Edit Message. And once each of your campaigns have been scheduled, you're going to click on Save Campaign. You'll be directed to a page that looks like this. Let's see here. I think there's actually one more page I wanted to show you. Let me see if I can find that. Oh, I think I deleted it. Okay. So there's a campaign, a screen that's going to show you. There it is. Hold on here. It's right behind here. Let me see. Let me put you on hold for just a second. Sorry about that. Okay, so the screen that's behind here, it shows you the dates for the campaigns that you scheduled. And what you can do is click on the date, and it's going to show you the communications box just like this. So you're going to be able to see everyone that it's going out to. If for some reason you see a patient on this list that you don't want to receive the communication, in your account, you're going to be able to hover over the patient's name and suppress the communication by clicking a little X right here. And I want to, let me just look at some of these questions that are coming in so I can answer them for you guys. Someone anonymously said, how do you handle postcards that are returned addresses? Where do we uncheck so nothing is sent to those? Trying to read this. I think you're asking when postcards are returned back to the offices. Typically that means there's an issue with the patient's address. You'll want to call them and verify the address. But in Practice Mojo, there's a preference setting, which I don't have in this webinar. I don't have that screen available to show you, but there's a preference setting where you can uncheck in their preferences that they receive postcards so that they will no longer receive them. But I would really make sure that that address is up to date. I don't know who asked that, so I'm hoping I answered your question. If not, though, let me know at the end and I'll try to better answer that question. Another question is, if a patient has all 3 icons, text, email, and postcard, will it send all 3, or can we select which we would like to use? Patient has all 3 icons. If you're sending a patient, Alice, that's a really good question. I'm going to answer it in just a second, though, because I'm going to talk about timing the campaigns so that if a patient does have an email, cell phone, and a correct address on file, they won't get all 3 if they schedule an appointment. So I'll show you that in just a minute. If I don't answer it fully in the way that you're asking, then we can go over that again. So just one second here. Is a single window for all 3 methods of communication? I don't know if I understand that question. If you can try to rephrase it for me, I might be able to answer. So I'm going to get back over to the webinar. Alice, I'm going to get right to that question that you asked here, but this is where you would suppress those patients from getting a communication if you don't want them to. I want to go over just some of the important details when scheduling a campaign. You always want to edit your campaign before you schedule it. So when you're in that edit feature, you want to choose your image, choose your message, and double check that you've saved those features or those changes before you schedule the campaign. If you try to schedule the campaign and then go change the theme, it's going to unschedule it if you don't save it. This, Alice, I think is going to answer your question. Timing your campaigns appropriately. You want to first send, I suggest, or our team suggests sending a text message first, because most people prefer text messages, and also they're checking their phone a lot more than they're checking emails or getting postcards. So if you schedule your text message and then a week later schedule the email, and then 2 weeks later schedule the postcard, what happens is that if they scheduled an appointment after they got the text, then they're not going to get the email or the postcard. If they don't schedule from the text, then they're going to get an email that week later, and same thing for the postcard. So I think that might answer your question, Alice. As long as they schedule, they won't get all three of them if you're scheduling them appropriately. Also, when it comes to timing, you really want to send on a day that the office is open to answer calls coming in from those patients that want to schedule an appointment. And we don't really suggest sending on a holiday, just because emails are getting inundated with all sorts of Happy Veterans Day or, Happy New Year emails. So you'd want to do it on a day that's not falling on a holiday. Also keep in mind that our emails go out around 4 a.m., so they're usually higher in a patient's inbox than other emails that they're getting, and our text messages go out at 9:30 local time, 9:30 a.m. local time. Typically, patients are at work and settled in by that time, so they should have time to read them. I'm going to ask another poll question really quickly while I take a look at some of these questions and chats coming in. So let me see. Hold on here. We went through that a little quickly. We only have a half hour, so I just want to see how comfortable you feel scheduling a one-time campaign. So how comfortable do you feel now that you're looking at some of those descriptions? You know what those icons mean, the difference between postcards that have all three icons or just the one icon. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to just think about those things and tell me how comfortable you feel. All right, I'll give you just a few more seconds. I'm glad I'm seeing a lot of people got this. If after this, you're not really sure, some things, just didn't click or I didn't explain it right, let me know and let any of our support team know so we can answer these for you or make it a little more clear. I'm going to go ahead and end this poll, and I'll share the results with everybody. So it looks like really half and half of you said you should be able to get it or you've got it. Hopefully it's not all from things you knew before. Hopefully I was able to help point out some of those, small details. For those of you, no one said it's gibberish, so that's awesome. And then for those of you that said it might take you a few minutes, we'd love to figure out which parts you're kind of struggling with or which parts could be a little more easy to use. Feedback is awesome. We really appreciate feedback. So let's get to the fun part, which is tracking your return on investment or your response rate. One more thing too is scheduling in advance 2 to 3 times a year. If you're going to schedule these campaigns in advance, we usually suggest 2 to 3 times a year. January is a good time, April and August. Currently, everyone should have been sending those benefit reminders out or getting those benefit reminders just about out. We only have about a month left before people can really get those appointments in. Can you raise your hand if you guys have sent benefit reminders out this year already or in the last month or so? Awesome. Okay, perfect. That's good. So for those of you who did, I'm going to show you, if you already don't know how you can check your response rate on those benefit reminders and any type of reactivation campaign you do in the future. So on your dashboard, there is a feature called Mojo Insights, and Mojo Insights tracks how successful Practice Mojo's been at getting patients back into your office through ReCare or reactivation. You can view pending appointments from communications we've sent, completed appointments, response rate, and how many people we've reached in the past 90 days. Just a little tip, there is a drop-down menu here that you can choose if you want to look at a time frame, like we have options of 30, 60, 90, or 120 days available. The national average of response rate from ReCare reactivation is about 3 to 5%, and Practice Mojo's average response rate is 36.78%, which is really awesome. And I know this just from looking at some of your accounts with you guys when we go over maximizing it and sending up these ReCare campaigns or reactivation benefit reminders. Your response rates are really, really great. So what I suggest doing is scheduling an event in your calendar about 2 to 3 weeks after you send out your communications, your reactivation campaigns. And this is going to give patients enough time to view communications and schedule an appointment. When you're ready to see the response rate, let me go back here. From that campaign, you're just going to click on the response rate, and this is going to show you, a box is going to appear that's going to show you data from the patients that received the communication. So you're going to be able to see the patient's name, last visit date, the date we contacted them, the next appointment. If you don't see anything here, that means the appointment's already completed, and then the effective campaign. And then this is going to show you the responded section. So 18, this is our demo account. We're seeing 18 patients responded out of 24 in the last 90 days. If you scroll down on your screen, when you're in your account, you're going to see that there's also a not responded yet section from your campaign, your Mojo response rate. And what this is going to show you, when we talk about effective ways to reactivate patients, the not responded yet list is a great tool for the office to use to personally reach out to patients. And as an automated service, we really believe that we're saving you as much time as possible by sending these communications by text, email, and postcard. But we can't deny at all that there are patients that you may need to contact personally. And those ones obviously aren't responding to us via text, email, or postcard. So if you print out this list, it's a great tool to target those patients and might be good at looking at those ones farthest back from their last visit date and really finding out why they haven't been into the office. You could give them a call and say something along the lines of, I'm calling because we've reached out to you a few times to schedule an appointment and we're concerned because we haven't heard from you. So when we're talking about being effective, again, it's using the tools that we have in Practice Mojo. There's really no need to waste time yet contacting patients that haven't responded to the due communications when we're going to send ReCare really past due or reactivation or ReCare boosters soon. So hopefully that's a tool you guys are using or will use in the future just to get those patients back in. In addition to your response rate, you can calculate your return on investment with Practice Mojo. The national average of revenue on a hygiene appointment is $250. So to calculate your return on investment, you're going to add your pending appointments to your completed appointments, and you're going to multiply that by 250. So in Practice Mojo, when you get into your account again on your Mojo Insights, you'll add your pending appointments to your completed appointments, and then that total you're going to multiply by 250. Or if your office has a different, revenue for your hygiene appointments, use that obviously to get your actual return on investment. If you calculate your return on investment when we finish with this webinar, you feel it should be higher, please let us know so we can reach out and help you maximize your accounts. We really do love working with each of you and making sure that these features are maximized. So I'm hoping that after this, you feel really, really comfortable scheduling a campaign and boosting your return on investment and your response rate. Before I get to, I think I see another question that has come in. Before I get to that, I just want to send out one more poll. Let me see here. Let's see. I want to find out how comfortable you feel calculating your return on investment, and then also which webinar you would like to attend next. So I'm going to send that out. Take a few seconds here to respond so we get some feedback while I look at these other questions that came in. I'm seeing a few responses about needing help possibly calculating your return on investment. So I just moved back to this screen where it shows you with your Mojo Insights, you're going to want to add your pending appointments to your completed appointments. And then you're going to multiply that by 250 to see your return on investment. If you need help, you can give us a call. We'll go over it with you. And you can email us at support@practicemojo.com or call us at 800-556-2580. Or we have our live chat feature, and hopefully, we can help you with that. If you just give us your office phone number or name, then that should be able to, that should give us enough information. Amber chatted in or asked a question about where's the 250 figure coming from. That is the national average of revenue on a hygiene appointment. So it's the national average. So I hope that answered that question. Another person made a comment about moving an appointment that's confirmed. It's anonymous viewers, so if you'd like to call in, we can talk about your practice management software and how that's happening, so I can help you figure out that appointment. I'm not sure. Typically, it should create a new appointment, so I'd really just have to look at it before I could delve into why that's happening, why it's staying confirmed. I'm going to end the poll here, and I'll share these results with you. Some people said that you needed a little more help, and we can do that for you. I'm glad to see a lot of people have your calculator ready. And again, if you feel like your response rate or your return on investment should be higher, let us know. We're going to help you do that. Regarding which webinar you'd like to attend next, let's see, patient feedback, reviews and surveys. That's super exciting. I figured that's what everyone would or most people would want to hear about next. But also the dashboard, that's awesome too, because the dashboard really is going to help you utilize the most tools in Practice Mojo and help with the front office, just getting things done efficiently. And ReCare, more than happy to go over any of that with anybody. I think we should be having some of these webinars come up in the future. So we're really excited. I want to, let's see. Someone commented in the chat about the pending appointment not being added in the revenue. I agree that, I definitely see your view on that. We're assuming that these appointments that Practice Mojo has scheduled for you are going to be completed. So if you're more comfortable with just really looking at your return on investment, I would say just multiply your completed appointments with your the national average or the revenue that you're seeing in your office, and you can see your return on investment there too. So thank you, everybody. If you have any, I know we only wanted about 30 minutes for the webinar, so I don't want to take any more time, but if anyone else has any more questions, I'll stay on for a little longer. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and email us or send us any questions if you have any feedback. We're going to send out a survey tomorrow, but if you'll get to it on Monday and get that feedback back to us about future webinars, that's going to be really helpful. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Rachel, for your response, and thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thanks, Ronnie. I'm glad you made it. Let us know if you need anything. I'm glad to see your reviews are really getting boosted over there on Google. I think on Facebook too. It's awesome. Awesome results. And we might talk about that on the next webinar, so that'll be really exciting too. You're welcome, Debbie. Glad you could join us. You're welcome, Terry. We'll see you next time. Someone chatted in about the 250 being subjective to business, subjective business to business. I'd have to really get back to you about where that number is coming from. You know, it's coming from our management above director of business and the research or studies they've found. So if you want some real solid information or some resources about that, if you can send me an email or send it to support@practicemojo.com, we can talk a little bit more about that. Catherine, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. It was awesome to see your name up there. We'll talk to you next time. All right, I don't see too many questions coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and end this meeting. Thank you guys again for joining us.